I would now like to introduce Aviva Kirsten. To get us started, I was hoping today we could just go ahead and have a rich discussion about your passion project of creating a Bill of Rights for students with disabilities. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, the students with the disabilities, these are the many things that people without disabilities take for granted that are often out of reach for students with disabilities, such as the right to education, physical and emotional wellness, a stable and nurturing environment, a safe, healthy, and comfortable home, clean water and clothing. As students get older, age-appropriate access to technology, reproductive health care information and services, and so much more. They will be informed that these are rights, not privileges, and they should not be taken away as punishment.
Thank you so much. And so my understanding is that you are working towards making this just a part of every student's curriculum that they receive really early on. And I think that is such a great idea if that is not already happening within our school systems. So why do you feel that this rights education, especially at such a young age, is so important?
Children with disabilities have a higher risk of abuse and neglect than their peers without disabilities. Types of abuse include physical abuse, emotional abuse, neglect, intimidation, sexual abuse, and isolation.
So connect these dots for me. So what you're saying is by not knowing about your rights and how to speak up for yourself, it increases the risk of abuse. Can you further speak to that?
Well, people with disabilities may be seen by abusers as weak, unable to assert themselves, and less likely to report abuse. This makes them easy targets. People with disabilities may believe that they deserve the abuse. Many people with disabilities are afraid that they will not be believed when they report abuse.
Right. So it does make sense that if you are educated about your rights and speak up for yourself, that could then help to start to prevent these rights violations and worst off, even abuse here. So the studies are showing that those are a lot of the reasons that not knowing your rights may lead to abuse. So what else have you learned and found out that being part of a strong community, how does that help protect rights?
Another way you can protect your rights and prevent abuse is being active in your community and having more people you trust to go when you feel something is wrong. People with disabilities are often isolated and dependent on a small circle of friends or caregivers for critical support, including assistance with basic physical needs. These same caregivers are often the abusers, which poses a difficult decision for the victim who is required to choose between the potential for continuing abuse and an uncertain future. Also, people may have limited access to police, advocates, medical or social services representatives, or others who could intervene and help.
Oh, wow. But the good news, I think, is that if education about rights can protect people from harm, that it can actually bring other positives to that student and to people with disabilities in general. So what are some of the positives that can come from learning about your rights?
When children learn to speak up for their rights, they have a brighter future, do better in school, able to advocate for themselves as adults, and become more assertive people.
So to kind of continue from there, so if you're informed about your rights and your choices, that can improve your life and empower you. Is that what you're finding?
Yes, studies show when people have the right to personal decision-making, emergency department visits decrease by 47%, behavior events decrease by 69%, had more than double the amount of quality of life outcomes compared to people who did not exercise rights. When people have the right to visitors, abuse and neglect incidents decrease by 57%.
That's great. So I can definitely see how if we are able to get more rights education into the school system and with children with disabilities, that then not only protect them from harm, but the chances of having a better future is much more in the grasp. And that starts with just even personal decision making over what's happening day to day and making sure that people's needs are getting met, such as through the alternative services model and many other things that are happening out there in the world.